All right, next one comes from a U.S. Army veteran getting his first house, and he's asking, hey, where do we start? It's going to be a good one. Let's go now to Dan.
Hey, how you doing, Alan? My name is Roldan Ramos. I'm a U.S. Army veteran. I live in New Jersey, and I am currently in the process of buying a new house. I'm 2 weeks out from closing and moving in. Now, my question was, I've been listening to the podcast and watching your YouTube videos, and I absolutely love the information that you give out. It's my first time owning a home and first time ever taking care of a lawn, period. Now, my question was for summer lawn care, being the fact that I'm moving in at the end of May, beginning of, what's the best first step as a new homeowner, new lawn care owner? What's the best way to start? Appreciate all your help and all your information you give. Thank you again.
Mr. Dan Ramos, thank you for your service, my brother. Congratulations on your first home. This is awesome, right? I mean, you're fired up. I mean, this is a great time of year to move in. May, you still have plenty of time to make some good progress in that lawn, and I know that you're already mapping it out and you want to jump on it. So I'm going to talk to you right now, and I'm going to talk to a lot of other folks that are the same way. And by the way, this doesn't just apply to those of you who are just moving in. This applies to you procrastinators out there, those of you who have been watching a lot of videos, listening to a lot of podcasts, reading a lot of emails, but you haven't taken action yet for whatever reason. This applies to you too, or those of you who may have just found us. This is where you start. This is what I would recommend you do. So the first thing I want you to do is go out and measure your lawn. You want to measure length times width, and you want to make a property map of each area of the lawn. In my case, I have like 5 different sections that I've logically mapped out. Now, the thing about your property is it's going to be logically mapped out because you're going to have a house on one side, you're going to have streets or sidewalks on another, you're going to have a driveway that breaks it. So you're going to have a backyard, a front yard, you're going to have 2 side yards. So whatever is logical for you to make yourself a plan or a map of your lawn, measure each section out and make that property map. I'll link in the description below if you're on YouTube to that video where I did, or you can just go to YouTube and search how to measure your lawn. My video will show up there. Check that out, and that's the first thing you do. And the reason you do that, Dan, is because, yeah, I want you to know the square footage because it's going to dictate everything else that I'm going to recommend for you going forward. But the other thing is I want you to learn your land. And you as a U.S. Army veteran, you understand the importance of knowing the lay of the land, no matter where you are, because that helps you make a plan going forward. Knowing your terrain, you know, G.I. Joe says knowing is half the battle. Knowing your terrain is half the battle. Knowing your lawn, what does it feel like to walk it this way? Where does the sun hit at this time of day versus that? Why do I have weeds there and not there? Why is it squishy and wet here and not over there? Why do I have sun and shade ratios? I mean, whatever. Even things as simple as which way does my house face? Does it face north and south, or does it face east and west? And where does the sun go in relationship to the lawn? So that's the first thing you do is measure that lawn. Learn your land. Take a ton of pictures too, my friend. Take a ton of before pictures. I'm fortunate I have a YouTube channel, so I have videos and videos and videos of the before of every lawn I've owned. Well, at least here in Florida, I don't have any before videos of my lawn in Indiana because I owned that one long before there was even a YouTube. But the long and short of it is you're going to want to keep that record. And it'll also help you, again, to see how your lawn progresses over time with a starting baseline of terrain and measurement. So first thing is measure that lawn. The second thing is invest in a good lawnmower. Now, I've talked a lot about lawnmowers before. I've talked about I'm a Toro man and a Honda man. Those are the 2 things that I like. I've also used the Ego, which is a battery-powered mower, and thought that it did fine for what it is, if battery power is something for you. And I plan to review some more mowers coming up. Everybody wants me to review this brand new Toro mower that runs on a battery, and next time I see one, I'll pick one up for sure, and I'll review that because, again, I'm a Toro man. But what I wanted to talk to you about now is the size of the lawn, because size definitely matters when it comes to your lawn. We've talked about that being different things. You know, 5,000 is like your starter diamond for your wife, and 10,000 is like giving her the full carrot. She's finally arrived. Anything over that acreage is just nasty. And so you got to look at it that way, but you can also break the lawn down in the way of the size of the mow. In other words, I want you to make sure that you get the mowing right first and foremost, and the way to get the mowing right first and foremost is to have a mower that will provide a comfortable, enjoyable mow for you. And that really means how long are you willing to mow? We don't talk about that a lot. I personally love to mow, but I want to get the lawn finished in under an hour, like 45 to 50 minutes feels about right to me for mow time. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that in a minute because I like to mow much more than that, and that's why I'll double or triple mow sometimes, so don't get me wrong there. But then that's my choice to extend it. But there are times when I got to get out in a workmanlike manner and get it done, especially like on a Wednesday night, weeknight lawn work, hashtag that weeknight lawn work. I got to get her done, and so I want to be able to get it done in under, let's be honest, 45 minutes. Now on Saturdays, I'll mow 2 or 3 times. Some sections I'll mow 3 times, some sections 1 time. But again, those are my choices to extend the mow. But I feel like 45 to 50 minutes is about right when it just comes to my personal clock inside that says, yeah, you're not tired of it at 50 minutes. But you get to minute 51 and all of a sudden you're like, all right, got to move on to something else. My attention span is moving on to the weed whack, to the edge, to the blow. That's kind of how it goes in my mind. And some of you might feel the same. Some of you might feel a little bit different. But I think all of you have that internal level set that you say there's a certain amount of time that you're just done. So with that, then, I want to say that 8,000 square foot lawn, Dan, I want you to get a mower that is 21 or 22 inches if it's up to 8,000 square feet. I think anything bigger than 8,000 square feet, and then I would move to a 30-inch mower. And, of course, there I'm going to look at the Toro Time Master. And I think that that would be good for anything up to about 18,000 square feet. Anything bigger than that, you're going to have to look for a tractor or a rider or something with a larger deck. But that seems to me to be about right. So that'd be the next thing I would say is after you measure your lawn is get the mower that's going to allow you to get the mow done in about 45 to 50 minutes. And use those little bit of kind of level sets there, those stopping points, that 8,000, 18,000 to be the 21, 22, 30-inch or larger mark. And definitely get a mower that you enjoy. If you like personal pace on Toro, that's very much of a leisure mow, but I've been recently enjoying the more active mow that I get with Honda's version. It's like a paddle shifter. Feels like I'm playing a video game, I like that idea too. That one, I like to drive the Honda, like driving an open wheel race car, being up on it, being up in it. I like that feel too. So get that kind of thing, Dan. Are you an active mower or are you a leisure mower? I hope that'll help you out, but definitely get a mower. Make that your first, best, most researched, purchase, because that's the thing that's going to make your lawn look better than anyone else. Because I'm going to tell you guys right now, if you don't do anything else over Memorial Day weekend, get out and give your lawn a good cutting. Double cut it. Give it a good edging. Give it a good weed whack. Make it look good. Even if it's a salad bar full of weeds, I'm telling you, it looks better when you give it a good cut, especially a good double cut. And that's a great thing to do to give yourself confidence, to see results, because you will before and after on a cut. There's all kind of YouTube channels out there where guys just get thousands and thousands of views by cutting overgrown lawns. And they all look pretty good when they're done. I can tell you even the worst, all of them, they look great even after they're overgrown and they're cut. They look better. So I would recommend that you do that this weekend, is give that a good cut. The next thing to do, and it goes along with mowing. Again, it's summertime here, and I know you guys are all looking for a chemical option, but I am going to give you that last. The next thing I would recommend you do, though, is determine your grass type. Now, in New Jersey, you're going to have cool season turf. You're going to have turf-type tall fescue, Kentucky bluegrass, perennial rye, something like that. And you're going to want to mow those at 4 inches top setting. So when you're choosing your mower, that's the other thing, Dan. Make sure that it'll mow to 4 inches, because a lot of mowers these days, their top setting is 3.75 inches. And as we talked about in previous podcasts, even though you might be able to get away with that, it leaves you absolutely no fail-safe. You have no backup. You have no redundancy there. If you miss a mow and the top you can go is 3.75, and you've been fertilizing hard, you might have a little bit of a problem. You might have to scalp and beat your lawn at the knees, and that's not going to be good for it. So make sure you have a max cut height of at least 4 inches. For sure, I would recommend that. And I would recommend you mow at that tall setting. Mow at that tall setting all summer. We don't really know what this lawn is. We don't know how it's been treated. We don't know how it's been cared for. So we want to mow tall to give it the most ability to shade its root system, to stay a little bit cooler, and to absorb all that beautiful sunlight that we're giving it here from beautiful summertime. Now, just to give the rest of you an overview here, just in case you're somebody that's in a similar position, I've said in the summertime, for sure, you want to raise up your Kentucky bluegrass, your perennial rye, and your turf-type tall fescue to your top setting. Just set it and forget it. 4 inches is where you want to be, but if you have a mower that goes higher, please, by all means, go higher. Test me out. Go as high as you can. St. Augustine grass and Bahia grass, you're the same way, 4 inches or higher for sure. I'm messing with my palmetto in the front down at 3 1/4, and I'm going to keep doing that because I'm trying to be a little bit of a lawn rebel. And I'm also going to do my Scott's Pro Vista St. Augustine grass in the back at that same 3 1/4, 3 1/2. But again, that's me testing out and messing around. But if you are inexperienced with St. Augustine grass, if you're new, or if you have Floritam St. Augustine grass, which is 99% of you in Florida, you want to mow at 4 inches or higher. Centipede, you want to mow right around that 3 inch mark, but you're welcome to go a little bit taller if you want, as long as you don't get too floppy. Zoysia, 1.5 to 2. Now, I raised my Empire zoysia grass over here on the side up to what I'm calling the summer height, which is 2. I was mowing sub 1.5, getting a little bit of scalping, but I was doing that every single week. I was sticking with our mowing cycle of every single weekend and then every single Wednesday. Sometimes it was a Thursday, but I was hitting it hard, mowing it low. Now I'm taking it to its comfortable summer height after I hit it really hard with some fertilizer, and now it's feeling really good at 2 inches, and it just looks fluffy, and it just feels good. So zoysia, I recommend that you go to a 2-inch height for summer. Bermuda, you guys are gonna run super fast. Bermuda grass loves the heat, and it loves the summer, so you wanna continue challenging that Bermuda grass down to 1 inch if you can, but if you're getting scalping just because your lawn isn't completely flat, then you're gonna wanna probably go up to 1.5 or 2 inches, but don't go any taller on Bermuda grass than 2 inches. It'll just get too leggy. Keep that down there. Remember, Bermuda grass is alpha male, and when you challenge it, all it does is it just grows bigger, stronger stolons and rhizomes and spreads out and takes over, and that's exactly what you want to challenge it to do. Now, the next thing, Dan, that I'm going to recommend you do is get your irrigation in line, especially with that cool season turf. You guys in the Northeast have had crazy amounts of rain. I have a good friend that lives right outside of Plymouth, Massachusetts, which is, again, it's up there in the Northeast as far as we're all concerned, and he shared with me some of the massive amounts of rain that they've had, and I know New Jersey, you probably even got it worse. In New York, you've also got a lot of really bad rainstorms and long days of rain and just rain, rain, rain. And so because of that, your lawn is going to be having a hangover. I'm telling you right now, Dan, if you're hitting these 90-degree temperatures, which will be very soon, it's going to have a massive hangover. So you'll want to get your irrigation in line. And I'm going to tell everybody right now, doesn't matter who you are or where you live. This is one of those kind of universal truths that we find in the summer with lawns, is that all grass types are going to like between 1 and 1.5 inches of irrigation weekly during the hottest months of the summer. Definitely, late June through July and August, maybe into early September, depending where you live. And if you're in the south down here, even further, even though down in Florida, we're in the rainy season, so a whole different ball of wax. But for sure, no matter who you are, no matter where you live, in summer, 1 inch of water minimum, all grass types. But when it gets really hot, or if the turf is lagging, all grass types, add an extra ½ inch in there, 1.5 inches per week of watering. And you want that watering to be deep and infrequent. Think of that watering like a certain kind of relationship you have. You know those people that you keep on the outer fringes so that you only have to speak with them infrequently, but when you do, you get into really deep conversations? Think of your lawn that way, deep and infrequent. You don't want to have a deep conversation with it every day. You want it to realize that it misses you. I'm going real deep here. Literally, you want to make sure that grass misses the water. You want to make sure the grass flexes. It needs to be on its own. It can't have you there comforting it along all the time with water. So let it dry out in between. Sometimes it may take 48 hours in the heat of the summer for it to dry out, or only 24 hours, but make sure that the waterings are 1/2 inch each time and definitely separated by 1 or 2 days, deep and infrequent. Just when you see the lawn starting to check out and need you, that's when you go in and have that nice, deep 1/2 inch conversation of water with it. Take the tuna can challenge if you haven't. Put your tuna can out, change around your sprinkler zones, find your best spots in the where you put your sprinkler. If you're manually moving it, put the tuna can out there, and when you got a 1/2 inch of water in it, you can cut off the conversation and move on to the next area. That's how you do it. Take that tuna can challenge. 1/2 inch of water every couple of days is about right during the heat of the summer, no matter what your grass type is. So, Dan, if you get that watering in line, now you're set. You got your mowing. You're mowing at the right height. You got your mowing frequency, which is to obey the 1/3 rule and never cut off more than 1/3 of the grass blade's length in a single mowing. And you got your irrigation right, which is one of the biggest challenges that you're going to have in the summer, is keeping the irrigation right. We always want to make sure, too, that we water in the mornings before 10 a.m. because we don't want too much evaporative loss, but we also don't want the water to sit there hot overnight, where it can then help that disease triangle to form. We talked about that in last week's podcast. So the idea is to water in the mornings. You can water as early as 4 a.m., 3 a.m., that's fine. Just make sure that your watering cycles are done by 10 a.m., and obviously, this is much easier for someone that has an automatic irrigation system. If you don't, you're going to have to maybe stretch that out over several days. Maybe you have 5 different spots where you have to move your sprinkler every single morning. Again, you don't have to get all your watering done in one day. You can water zones by days. So a lot of different ways to slice and dice. You can make your own little algorithm in there, if this, then that. I mean, it depends, Dan, how much you want to get into that and how you want to be. But definitely get that irrigation right, and definitely keep that lawn healthy all during the summer. Those are the first few things that I would recommend that you do to get all of that going, to really get started. And the good thing is, none of that requires you throwing anything down.